Fit like Abdi, Danny Boy here, and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. It is episode 200, which pretty much is a milestone. 200 episodes is a hell of a lot. So I think I've been doing this for almost a year, this series. It's been going on for quite some time. We've had our ups and downs. We had to obliterate every single steam train from the map and start afresh with the diesel and electrics. Yada yada yada, but we've made it this far. The game is super laggy now. The cities are huge. The amount of vehicles on the map is ridiculous. We are losing $500 million every single second of the game. So even though I gift myself 100 million, we still lose it, unfortunately. But hey ho, that's just the way it goes. But yeah, we are going to do our standard. The first train we're going to jump onto is our Grand Central Main Line, since we just built it in the last episode. Now, these sometimes put you, oh no, it's good. It's good, let's go. Oh, and it's ready to go. So, this one should be heading out. We did have an issue with the Class 250 that was on this line. We'll actually pop it out a test. There we go. There's another 125 over there. Ooh, we're turning towards London. It's super laggy. So here's what the train looks like, sort of close up. Really cool, very nice model. These Grand Central trains. I love their liveries. They're a million times different than anything else that's sort of running on these lines. There's nothing else that's really, well, there's nothing else that's like black and orange. There is the intercities that are black and yellow, but yeah, these things are pretty cool. So we just missed that Freightliner train that was popping out down there. I'm really hoping that the Class 250 that was in front of this has taken flight and headed off a lot further down the line. So it'll be interesting to see what we sort of get up in 2015. 2015, a year I can almost remember. So we're getting there. We're getting near the end. I mean, there'll still be 2 episodes, 2050, 10 episodes, 2015, 2020. Probably maybe another 10 episodes, or I might actually obliterate every train from the map and then just upgrade it with brand new stuff. But there's a whole trains there. That's nice. There is no wagons for it. Oh, great. The other Class 250 is basically right behind this one. Which is not really surprising. It's a hell of a lot faster. And we did have that, we'll say, incident where the trains were sort of stuck. And then we found out in the last episode, with the power of Google, that unfortunately the 250, the Class 250, never really came to be. Which is a real shame, because it's a pretty cool train. It was proposed, but never really put into production. I suppose it's kind of a waste. I think it's quite a high-speed trains, and the tracks in the UK are just not up to those sort of speeds. There's no point having a really expensive train that goes really fast if it's still limited to the same 125 mile an hour speed limit as the stock you've already got. So it's a shame, because when I added that train, it was the first time I really thought, hey, I've never actually seen one of these in real life. And that's why it was an almost train. I'm sure there are Class 250s somewhere on the planet. Is it a train that actually exists, or was it only proposed and then it never actually? Was it only designed and never got built, or was it a design that maybe got picked up by another country? Possibly. Those Swedish trains, I can't remember what they're called. Are they Swedish or are they from Finland? I think it's the Swedish ones. They kind of look like Class 250s. They are high speed variants. But yeah, Sweden is Sweden seems to be the place to be. Country where it perpetually snows, but they've even got a high-speed train. Their internet connections are ridiculously fast. So I've been pestering BT a lot to see about getting the FTTP, the fibre to the premises. And all I get is, oh, it is coming to your area, but it's not there yet. Even though I know the node for the FTTP has been installed in a place where I can now get, because it's, unfortunately, because my house is out in the middle of nowhere, it's, I thought it was only like a pipe dream, but apparently there is now a node at the edge of the town, right in the edge of the town where I used to live, that's just sort of near where my house is, and it is actually in range. And apparently there's another junction box out in the countryside where there's beside a power transformer. There's actually one there, and that's even closer, and they're putting it in there too. So I'm just sort of waiting for that giga fast internet. Some of you maybe already have it in your area. I know there's quite a lot of places down in England, definitely in central Scotland, Aberdeen, like the whole of Aberdeen city, they rolled it out. The thing is, they rolled it out but didn't actually tell anyone that existed. I had a lot of people, because my office was just outside Aberdeen, and I was like, oh hey, if you've got the gigafast internet, and they were like, oh yeah, it was like, definitely, I pay for the best package from BT and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then the next morning they were like, I did an internet test in my house after you mentioned it, and I get 60 megabytes a second. I was like, oh no, you've got the old school internet like the rest of us, which is not as bad as dial-up was back in the day, but now that there are a lot better internet connections, it's pretty crap now. So so they were like straight on the phone to BT or their internet provider and were like, hey, and then they found out that they could get gigafast, or is it ultra fast fibre to the premises for the exact same price as what they were paying for like the old school internet. And some of them were pretty annoyed because some of them had found out that they'd got their internet package being told that it 60 megabytes up and 60 megabytes down and 20 megabytes up was the best, when they actually could have been getting a lot more for the exact same price. So some of them were pretty steamed, but it's just the way you go. I don't know why they don't just say, hey, this is the brand new really super duper fast stuff, unless they are hemorrhaging money by installing it to all the houses. But the UK is pretty rubbish when it comes to, like, BT used to be the be all and end all of telecom companies. It was what other telecom companies wanted to be, and now the UK is at this place where we're really low down on internet speeds and communications and telecoms and stuff. We're way down the list. We're still trying to get 5G rolled out, and countries like Japan and China are all like, we're on like 10G. They are way ahead. And if a country like Sweden, with its unfortunate weather, perpetual snow, I know that there's some, I think it's like north, up in the top, it's like, you get like a month of perpetual darkness or something. If they can roll it out to everyone there, then why can't the UK? It's just because our infrastructure is super old. But hopefully we'll get it. Looking forward to it. I'll make uploading videos a lot faster. I would like to do streaming in the future, so that would hopefully help. Apparently, I'd like to do streaming on YouTube. I'm not really keen on moving over to sort of Twitch or anything. But yeah, the faster internet really goes a long way. It's not even download speed. I mean, the download speed at 60 megabytes a second is okay. It only takes like 12 hours to do a COD Warzone patch and update. But yeah, the 20 megabytes up, I think YouTube has the most requirement for upload bandwidth. So I'm going to have to trade carefully. I'm going to be obviously waiting for the new PC to be built. I'd like to have one as game PC, the other one as stream PC. Same as one for gaming, the other one for video editing and rendering. The only problem is the RTX 3080s are pretty well. You'd have more chance of finding the Fountain of Youth, which is a mythical thing, than getting a 3080. I know. Like one of my friends got one, and he was like, the process is basically you wake up in the morning. You spend every waking minute checking your phone. You have like 8 pages in a browsers open with all the outlets that sell graphics cards, and you just wait. You wait till one pops in, and then you get it. You go on Google every night before you go to bed, check the rumor mill to see which places are sort of getting stock, so you're sort of ready for it the next day. Obviously, some companies are doing alerts, and then they send you an email saying like, hey, this is now in stock. You have 0.00.1 seconds to get onto the site and place your order, or it's going to be gone. But yeah, that's not for me. I do often have a look, and it's normally the same thing. It's like, oh, this was in stock 4 hours ago, and now it's out of stock. And it's like, But yeah, the thing I'm holding out for is Asus have showcased. Now I think there was pictures of this before. I think it was maybe showcased at CES 2021, which is presently on the go. I did see someone had posted a video on YouTube, and that was one of the things Asus had, was the white edition 30 series graphics cards. Now my new PC build is perpetually white. Everything in it is white. Motherboard, case, PSU, everything. The fans, the radiators. It's a liquid cooled radiator. Everything is white. So getting a white graphics card would really be nice. I was going to go with the black Rogue Strix 3080, the standard one, but then it would look really stupid and out of place. And unfortunately, I think the white edition ones are coming with higher factory clock speeds and stuff, so they are going to be more expensive, which is kind of a pest. I thought they would maybe add like a 50 quid onto the price because they had went through the trouble of painting it white. But no, I think it's going to be a lot more, which kind of sucks. But yeah, we're kind of waiting for that. I really want this other PC to be built because there's a lot of stuff I would like to do in 2021, and I'm kind of hindered because I can't do it. Can't upload any of the videos in 4K, or I can, but rendering time takes a super long time on the current rig. So yeah, I want that new PC built. But here we are. We have arrived in Newcastle at 2011. Okay, so there's a lot of buses. We've already got a lot of buses. I would imagine... Hey, Stobart Rail, that's cool. Class 1. And everything disappeared. Right, we will have to look at everything sort of at the end. Now, which line do we want to jump onto next? One line I've not really jumped onto is this East Coast line. I was kind of hoping there would just be a train sort of ready. I was going to do like the England South or the UK main line, but I was terrified that we would get that perpetual being stuck down at the London side. Even though I've freed up most of the traffic there. Wait, is this too... Why are you stopped here? Are you actually waiting for this to go? Or are you waiting for this to go? In fact, let's check these. And all these seem to be East Coast. 45. There's only 4 on here, so I could probably add more. Right, you're heading for Ipswich. Okay. You are heading for Northwest. And all 4 of these stuck are down at the same place. You're heading for Northwest, so that's 3 out of the 4. Besides Ipswich and Norwich. And you are heading for London North, so you are leaving. Basically. Yeah, you're leaving Ipswich. So all 4 trains are stuck down the bottom. Now this thing is very, very dirty. And because these 4 trains are kind of stuck, the first thing I might do in the next episode, because we've got some other East Coast trains in here, I might get some of them. This thing like driven through a landslide. The coaches are fine, but yeah, it's possibly because it's on the East Coast, near the sea. The salt air has rusted the thing almost out of existence. It's hard to tell that it's a GNER. I mean, we're coming into 2015, so very, very shortly we will be getting Virgin trains repainted as London North Eastern Railways trains, the LNERs. They're probably going to pop up very, very soon. But after this train has arrived, you're now going to stop because this freight train is taken right of way, which it really shouldn't have, because I'd like passenger trains to go first. Oh, I'm passing another year. 40 new vehicles have arrived. Again, we've got more of these. No way. How can these still be getting made? Like this Skyfall train. Cool. Want to use that. East Coast. These things are pretty smart. Yeah, they can't. Not everything had 007, did it? So I would imagine Skyfall was released in 2012 then. Right, so this train is actually taking an age. I can see why the 4 of them get stuck down here. Possibly. There we go, there's a little Network Southeast. 381 or 382. Right, are you almost at the station? You should be. Pretty much there, right? Good man. I see the finish line in the distance. But you can see how laggy it is here. It's like the frames are really bad. It's because we're near London, and London is currently the largest city on the map, so it really is having a difficult time computing everything that's sort of happening down here. But we're going to be heading away from London, and the further from London you get, the better it gets, so that's nice. Ooh, we've got an autosave. Autosave is done. Yeah, we'll be heading away from London, so it shouldn't be too bad. So that autosave actually had nothing new to save apart from the vehicles on the map are in different places. I've not added anything. But yeah, we'll definitely add some East Coast trains onto this line. I think that 007 Skyfall one was an East Coast train. It looked like it. The sort of light grey livery. It might have been a one National Express train, possibly. But you have now arrived. Now we have jumped on this train before, albeit, oh no, I fear, right? Yeah, because this driving van, because this DVT is classed as a local, it's put the camera at the back. So in order to get to the front of the train, and the front of the train is so far away. Oh, and it's so slow. Okay. Here's a first. Or will it actually put me... There was a lot of people on this train. Holy crap. Right, the doors have closed. Are we going to be going backwards? We've never followed a train in reverse before. But this train is not going to flip around. Oh, okay, it put us to the front. Well, that's pretty cool, actually. That's an interesting feature that actually flips you across. Now, I see a Class 250 right in front of me. And this train has just picked up 117 people, meaning that this East Coast Class 250 will literally pick up nothing. Unfortunately. Hello, East Coast friend. Yeah, even that looks kind of dirty, so that does get the aging as well. But we are off, finally, on our way. There is a freight train to the right there. It looked like it was carrying sand. There should be a few trains on this section of the line. And these electric trains take off much quicker than their diesel counterparts. Up to 71 already. See, the frame rate here is not fantastic, but it is a million times better than when you're heading into London. True story. It's way better. Now, here's your opposite number. Whoa, that train is... Yeah, it needs a wash. I mean, we could actually... I've not set train maintenance for any train on this map, so it is going to deteriorate as it should. I mean, it doesn't matter how much maintenance you do on a vehicle, unless you're one of those people that buy a car or something, stick it in a garage, put a tarpaulin over it, a cover over it, suck all the air out of the garage, and create a complete vacuum. Is it going to be in pristine condition in 20 years when you open the garage again? Things deteriorate over time, whether you're using them or not. I mean, my father had his own company, and it was a fish processing plant, and he used to have company cars, vans, vehicles, articulated. It had its own like separate haulage company, and it was right down at the harbour. And he would get like company cars for like his managers and stuff, like high-end cars as well, BMWs and Audis, and they would be on like contract. And after like, he could only keep them for a year, because there was a couple of times he had vehicles for 2 or 3 years, because they're perpetually beside the ocean, beside the sea, and the weather here really sucks, so you get a lot of spray. If it's a really windy day, you get a lot of spray coming up onto the beach and the land. The air in the town turns to the salty sea air, and man, some of the Jeeps he had, like pickup trucks, and some of the vans were just absolutely destroyed by the salt in the sea air. I mean, they had to go back to places like Mitsubishi and Toyota, and some of the vans were from Fiat, and some of the Ford Transit vans had to go back. And I was like, just wondering, what did the guy actually say when they were handed back? Because there are certain points in a vehicle where rust will start to encroach, but this was just like all over. The sea air is really bad. But even if it's a vehicle sitting near the sea, it's still not exempt from the forces of nature. I mean, the vehicle I have has to go back. It's 3 years I've had it now. It was a Volvo XC60. It was really good. Its time is almost up. It has to go back, and then I'll get something new. But yeah, it's still pretty much in really nice condition. There's not really any scratches on it. There are a lot of tar marks on the front of the vehicle because when they built the AWPR, which is the Aberdeen Western Peripheral Route or whatever, or the Aberdeen Bypass, obviously because it's freshly laid road, a lot of tar got kicked up. And there is a guy in the town near where I stay who cleans and valets cars, and he's really good at getting that sort of stuff off. So it's going to him before it goes back to get a thorough, really thorough deep clean, so that it's almost like new when it goes back to the garage, so I don't get any penalties or anything for potentially wrecking the thing. But yeah, it's going to be, I actually have to think what type of new car I want. I think I'm just going to go for something like a little Fiesta van, since I currently have no job currently. I did actually get asked again to go offshore at like New Year period, but unfortunately I had that bout with COVID, which was unfortunate, so I straight up had to tell them no. And as soon as I said I had it, they were like, oh no, it's okay, you stay at home and get better. So I was like, yeah, well, can't leave the house anyway, don't want to put anyone else at risk. I mean, being in a chopper, it's a 2-hour flight on that helicopter, and I was like, no. Everyone else on that flight would be guaranteed to catch it. It's safer if I just stay home. It kind of sucks because I lose out in a bit of money, and it was quite a lot of money they were offering me, especially over New Year. But you just have to bite the bullet. These things happen. But yeah, so maybe things will pick up next year. I haven't really been actively really looking for jobs. I was gonna do like a sort of van driver. My friend owns his own van company, but he was right enough. He was looking for someone new, but someone that was a bit more permanent, because one of the first things he said is like, if you get a call to go offshore to do your old job, like chemical engineer, what would happen? I was like, well, I'd have to go and do it, because you can't turn down sort of money like that. So he was right enough. He was like, no, he's looking for someone that was sort of going to be there all the time. So I was like, that is fair enough. I sort of knew, and I wouldn't like to do that to anyone. So there are a lot of companies that won't take on previous oil and gas workers, because they know as soon as it picks up that they'll just leave that job and then go back to their old jobs, because the money is really good. So it's kind of a shame. It's a shame for the company, because if they do take someone on and spend the money to train them, they're then like suddenly hindered by losing out on that money and then having to find someone instantly to replace that person. So it's not really fair on them. So I can see why they do it. So yeah, hopefully things will pick up next year. I mean, a few people have said, why don't you do full-time YouTube? But this is like a hobby. I mean, my old job was not the... There were some jobs that were really bad and I absolutely hated it. And there were some jobs that were really good. So, plus you get to go all around the world to places that some people never get to. And you get to do it for free. You get paid for it. Obviously, it's not great at the moment. I mean, at the end of, not this year past, but the year before, I was in Israel. I was there for, it was like 4 months or something. It was a long time. Now, that job went on a break. They were finished one stage, and then they were going to start the next stage in the summer of 2020. And then even though there was the pandemic, they still started. But we got asked to go back out there just before our sort of company sort of closed down our department. And it just sounded like a nightmare. So it was still well into, like, COVID spread was super bad. And it was like, oh, you'll have to wear your mask on the flight for like 7 hours. I was like, that's okay. That doesn't bother me. As a chemical engineer, I spent 12 hours in a single shift working with chemicals where I've had to constantly wear a mask. And as annoying as irritating it is, it's just something you have to do because it's better than being dead. Would you rather be uncomfortable or have some poisonous gas kill you? So that didn't affect me, but it was like, oh, you need to quarantine for 2 weeks when you get there in an apartment. The company will provide you food, but then some of the guys that were over there, one guy was like, I've not eaten 2 days because the company rep that was delivering the food for them had got COVID. So he couldn't go anywhere, and they hadn't bothered to find anyone else. And then they were sitting there and it's like, we can't leave our apartment to go and get food, and no one is coming in for food. And then they were getting there, and even though they were shielding, like, some of them were catching it before going out to the ship, and it was like, oh my god, this sounds really bad. I was still happy to go, but unfortunately, like, our company did shut down our department, so they changed the contract to someone else, so we couldn't go. But going abroad for work right now is it kind of sucks. You have to be willing to do the things you need to do in order to do it safely. And there was weird things like the company was saying that you're 2 weeks in quarantine, even though you're in a foreign country, away from your home, your family. Because you're not working in that 2 weeks time, they're basically classing it as a 2 week holiday, and you don't get paid for it. And that was one of the most egregious things that most people, the first lot that went over, didn't get told that till they were there. In fact, they didn't get told that until they were on their way back, and they were furious. And then the next lot that was supposed to go straight up refused to go because they weren't going to get paid for their first 2 weeks of that trip. And because it's 2 weeks, you do a month there, you come back for 3 weeks, and then you do another month. But now it was going to be 6 weeks, and because you had to go back earlier to quarantine for 2 weeks to swap out the next guys, it was like 6 weeks away and 2 weeks at home. So that contract got obliterated quite quickly. But yeah, they did ask me as well if I'd like to go out there on like a sort of contractor basis, just on my own, to sort of consult and help out. And then it was like, but you need to pay for your own flights, you need to pay for your accommodation for 2 weeks while you are isolating. And then when you take all the money into account, it's like, well, I actually lose quite a fair bit of money. And then when I come back to the UK, I have to isolate for 2 weeks more. You can't really do anything, so it wasn't really economically viable. So we just had to bite the bullet and say no. These lights, I was going to say they're weird, but it's just the way they're angled. So yeah, hopefully 2021 things get better. I hope you guys are having a sort of okay start to 2021. In the UK, it kind of sucks right now. Maybe if you're in a different part of the world, it might be slightly better. So I hope you guys are doing good. I was going to say, why is that 250 trying to get into the depot, but it's not? Okay, we've got a major traffic jam here. I think these class 250s are way too fast for the class 43s that are also running. I think they're basically catching up behind them between each stop. There we go. There is a ridiculous amount of people waiting here to get on this train. Possibly because the three trains are all four trains were sort of bunched up. Which is interesting. There we go. Lots and lots of happy people. See, they are happy because it's currently only 2013. In 7 years or 6 years, no, 7 years, in 7 years time, you guys are going to be in for a shock. But like this, there won't be that many people standing at a train station waiting for a train. Although they are sort of distanced. They're not 2 meters apart, but they're kind of close. Right, so we need to jump on to another train. And then this will probably take us through 2014 into 2015. And then we shall be there. Now, it should probably be something short, I'm going to say. Probably not something that's ridiculously long. Maybe one of these Hull trains. You're not Hull train. In fact, hold on. Something we've not really done is jumped on with one of these freight trains. Now this freight train should be kind of good. Hold on. There's one leaving the station right there. And it's chock full of grain. It is a fast line freight. Hello, fast line freight. You are cool CD player. I think that's the radio. But I will say, the interior of this cab is like really well done, I'm gonna say. Yeah, this is. Does it have like the fuses and stuff at the back? No. Yeah, that's really cool. You could actually probably sit in this. Obviously the gauges don't work. It's okay. But yeah, the radio here, the switches. The sunflower signal thing. I mean, he has got his hands out like he's driving a steering wheel, but that's not the modder's fault. That's a standard transport fever thing. There we go. Pop out to the front though. So this has got 240 grain on board. Now, even though these trains are not absolutely huge consists, they are not as powerful as, per se, their American counterparts or some of the European electric freight trains that go around there. These things do actually struggle, even though it's double-headered as well, to push this stuff along. But yeah, this should be a nice, interesting route because it goes up through the sort of north part of England and then crosses the border over to Scotland, goes past Edinburgh. However, these trains are pretty bunched up, which kind of sucks. I'd like them to be more split up. That would be nice. I'm still wondering as well if that DB Schenker train that just went past is actually a UK locomotive, but I'm pretty sure it is because there are rail freight distribution models of it as well. Right, off we go. It's actually cruising along at like 60 miles per hour quite nicely. This is a nice pace. Frame rate's not too bad. We are approaching York though, so it might dip and we might potentially get stuck behind something else. One would imagine. Yeah, lots of trains here. Lots of York trains. Yeah. So there's a Class 43 in front of me. There is one passing on the left. Yeah, red light. Just until this one clears the station, and then I think it's good. This is nice. Lots of trains. And there's another train behind that Great North Eastern Railways train. Oh wow, look at this intercity train here. This train is extremely dirty. Oh yeah, it definitely needs a wash. Actually, at this point, probably belongs in a museum. After it's been cleaned up. Oh wow. If that train arrived at a platform and you were supposed to be on it, would you actually get on that train? I mean, by all means, things can look rubbish on the outside, but be extremely well maintained on the inside. I remember when, well, back in the days, we had this really old centrifugal pump that we used to take out with us on jobs, and it was absolutely ancient. It was as old as the hills. It was actually about 50 years old. It was way older, like 25 years older than I was, and it looked absolutely terrible. It really did look like a ramshackle shed, just totally beat up. Like the paint was mostly stripped off of it. It did get repainted many times, but yeah, just it looked horrible. It was so old and it was really loud, but it never ever broke down once. And all the brand new gear we had, things that are new are not always better, because faults do happen, and then often it's the first time the fault has occurred, and it's not something you're really trained to look out for or be aware of or know how to fix, because it's the first time it's ever happened. But yeah, this thing was super old. It was really easy to maintain and keep an eye on, but it looked absolutely terrible on the outside, but worked perfectly fine on the inside. We would take it out to oil rigs, and the company men from the company would see our gear coming on and be like, this thing must be like a backup pump because it's so old. It's like, and I was like, no, this is one of the main ones. It looks terrible, but it works really, really well. Guaranteed that we will be able to start the job and get to the finish, and this thing will still be going. Obviously, you don't tell them that everything else is probably going to fail. Yeah. That very it's not really often that you have failures with equipment. They're normally very well maintained, but this old thing, even though it looked like a bag of crap, worked immensely well. It was really good. It was loud, it produced a lot of heat, it shook the very ground that it was operating on, but man, it never failed us once. And then eventually they decided that it was super old, and they ripped it apart for parts and scrapped the rest. It was a real shame. It was a sad day in the department when Old Faithful was destroyed. But yeah, something like that train we just passed can look really dirty, but still work perfectly well if it's been maintained properly. But here we are heading up. We should be bypassing Newcastle. It looks like we've got free roam on the track. I was waiting to say there's a helicopter up there on the top right hand of the screen, but it's a plane. I don't know why I thought it was a helicopter. This would be really cool if there was a helicopter mod for Transport Fever. I mean, even Transport Tycoon of old had helicopters in it. And that game is ancient. It's still one of my favourite games of all time. is Transport Tycoon. And this is like the closest we'll probably ever get to Transport Tycoon, but yeah, it was, even though it had the old school graphics and it was really good. And then once mods came along for like every single vehicle on the planet, even though they were in that sort of pixelated, sort of weird old school MS-DOS box style, it was awesome. It was a great game. I'd love to do a revival of it, but there's so many mods and different things. The signaling as well, or the placing the semaphores in Transport Tycoon, was a real nightmare. It was always something I hated. Now, bear in mind, I used to play that game when I was a kid. Like, my mother would see me playing it and be like, "Why are you playing that? That's like a game for grown-ups. Company management, managing money and stuff like that. It's not really something a kid would play because you can't really grasp it." But I actually grasped it pretty well. So it was good. That was definitely my first love of building games. I mean, I'll play any game, really, but I really do like Tycoon games. Probably be my best. SimCity as well. Loved SimCity. I mean, I have played a lot of City Skylines. I'm probably not going to bring that to the channel because I'm pretty much done with City Skylines. It's a great game. It looks amazing. Can't fault the developers of it. But now it's become like The Sims, where it's the same game. There's just a new pack that adds more stuff, and it's just pack after pack after pack. But underneath, it's still the same game, and it's a great game. It probably, from most people's perspective, doesn't need changed at all. Oh, why are we waiting for him to go past? Because he doesn't have a signal on his side of the track. Ah, that sucks. So we could have been away there. But yeah, it's that game probably, there's probably not going to be a City Skylines 3. Or maybe there is. Maybe they've announced something new along that lines. But it's a game that probably works so well, it doesn't really need to be changed. Kind of like Transport Fever 2. There's not massive amount of difference from Transport Fever 2 and Transport Fever 1. The massive difference is graphically wise. It's a million times better. There's a few game mechanics that have been added. Some I like, some I don't. But yeah, it's still a really good game. But I'll say it before and I'll say it again, that modders are what make Transport Fever definitely for me. Because the vanilla gameplay with the set of vehicles that you get from Europe and America and Asia and Russia, and the standard 6 industries just seems, I'm not going to say boring, but there's very little chance of replayability once you've sort of used all that stuff and you've seen it. But doing stuff like this and having all the different trains from each country, and you could even have like a universal map that has like a train from every country in the world, but that's only done through modding. So well done to the modders. Right, we had another autosave there, which means we've been running for a long time and we're still nowhere near Aberdeen. Maybe this train was slightly too long of a route for the amount of time we had left. I would imagine that we're probably going to be around 2016, maybe the end of 2016 by the time this thing arrives. Now it should have a free shot from here all the way to Aberdeen. Nothing should be standing in its way. I think it might actually be a passenger train standing in its way very shortly. Well, this light is green, so that's a boost. And then after this, we've still to actually go and check out what we actually won in the game of fast forwarding time. Okay, so there's a building foundation, 2 of them, randomly hanging. Ah, it's because there's a bridge there. That is the pillars of a road bridge. And then we're going over our Golden Gate / 4th rail bridge, because I couldn't get the 4th rail bridge mod to work, but I'm going to get it to work for the next time. There we go, there's another Golden Gate bridge over there. Why is this going so slow? Is the speed limit of this bridge 38 miles per hour? Because that would be really odd if it was. However, trains that cross over the 4th rail bridge are like limited. I think it's something like 30 miles per hour or less. They don't hightail it over the bridge at speed. Right, so here we are approaching Dundee. We're now going over the Tay River Bridge. I just heard a bleep there. Okay, that's from something else. As I said, that's a bleep that's basically telling me we're in a new year and more vehicles have arrived. The mountains were doing some sort of weird disco effect there, but it seems to have stopped. That's one of the things I'm sort of having. I'm creating new maps for the next season of Transport Fever, and I'm having difficulties getting mountains to sort of look like this, the way they do, like actual mountains, not just sort of hills. It's proven difficult. Okay, so we've got this weird lump here. We should bypass Dundee and then head round into Aberdeen, and then we shall be golden. There we go, there's another train. Yeah, there's plenty of trains on this UK main line. It's just unfortunate they're all in the same place. Ah, that's a ScotRail Virgin train. That's cool. Yeah, no trains in the tunnels there heading down to Dundee. But this, looking at this railway in front of it, it's kind of like a roller coaster. So it goes down, and then up slightly, and then down again, and then up again. Yeah, this is not the flattest. It's something I'm going to work on in future playthroughs, is making track look more sort of realistic, more sort of viable, and not something out of Planet Coaster. But we're almost there. Through Dundee, short hop around to Aberdeen. There should be nothing in the way here, because the freight line is now separated from the main line, which is nice. Dundee North. Are you Dundee North? I suppose you are. And there's a wee bit of mail waiting there for that mail train that's already been and gone. Past all the stuff here. And off we go. 71 miles per hour, 72. So this thing can actually get up to a decent speed. It's going to be limited to 75 because that's what this old school track is capable of. I love these trees as well. I love watching trains go through this type of these type of trees, the sort of evergreen trees or redwood or whatever the hell they're called. They're pretty smart. We do have a few palm trees here and there, unfortunately. Yeah, so we're at 75 miles per hour, and I would imagine that the train is now stuck at this speed. Can't go any faster. There's the airport, where there's no planes. There's a rail freight distribution train. I can see other trains ahead as well, going in Aberdeen. ScotRail trains. Can't see any of the other freight trains that we've just added recently. And that's something I wanted to finish, is getting the food down to Perth and Glasgow and Dundee, because they actually require it. Yeah, nothing coming down that way. Nothing really coming down that way. So everyone in Aberdeen is deserted because they knew we were going to be coming. Unless there's a train in the station, but it looks pretty empty. Right, so place your bets now. Here we are at Aberdeen. What year are we going to be at? 2015. Ah, it's perfect. Okay, remember these. Right, close that, close that, close that. Push pause. Right, so we didn't actually make it in Aberdeen, but we're close enough. Now that took a long time. So, let's blast through this quickly. Let's see what we have to play with. Start with Steam. There's some heritage trains starting to come on the go. I'll have to get one of them. Whoa. There's 55 of these now. That's a lot. Stobart Rail. This is where we start off from. Eddie the Engine. Oscar Wilde, Kipling. These are all named after famous writers. This is a Caledonia sleeper one. Balfour Betty. That looks weird. Chiltern Railways, Caledonian sleeper again. Cross country. Direct rail services, so DRS. Colas Rail. First Great Western Dynamic, 92. Freightliner Orange, didn't know there was one. Gatwick Express again. Northern, NHS. Great Western Railways, 92. Greater Anglia, Hanson. Intercity in old school livery. Bi-directional, that's cool. Interstate Swallow 2. Northeastern Railways, LNER. So they are now a thing. London Northwestern Railways, Network Rail, Network Southeast 92, Northern, RIP Save Game, that's the Windows one, Ryzen 5, ScotRail Intercity 92, Southwestern Trail, Southern Rail, Thameslink NHS, Transpennine, Virgin Classic. There they go. Right, these are all still the same. These 8. I think this Coles Rail one is new. Yeah, 2012, 2016. So that's actually going to go next year. 31 variants of this. Yeah, these DRS ones are new. Yeah, because remember those ones. 25 variants of it. Oh my god. Right, so the Intercity is the Great Northeastern Railways we know, the National Express we know, Flying Scotsman, East Coast, Durham Cathedral. There's the Skyfall one, right? I don't know where this is supposed to go. I'd imagine it's East Coast, because most of this is East Coast. For the Fallen, that's a pretty cool one. I'd like to get that going. That's the Remembrance one. Battle of Britain, that's pretty cool as well. All these are East Coast. Some of these are LNER. So it looks like East Coast is transitioning to London Northeastern Railways. Transition Durham Cathedral. So there was a lot of them. These probably should still all be the same. Right, excellent. Diesels. Shouldn't have many new diesels. GBRF. Sir Sam Fate, that's new. Freightliner, no, that's the same. 114 of these. Yeah, Balfour Beatty, blue and grey. London Transport red. I think most of these are pretty much, these greys I definitely recognise. The peaks, still the same. Class 35s. Hey, we've got the Eurofenix ROG, which is nice. What about you? No, these Class 47s are still the same. I would imagine that these have stopped being built way before now. Right, we've got the ScotRail one that I was looking for, so I can then get that up and running. Grand Centrals are still the same. A couple of Great Western Railways there, and some cross country, which is nice. 8 variants of this, so these are still the same. Class 379, BR Green. I thought, because that's the Eurofenix one there. Yeah, the Caledonian Sleeper. These were ones that I was thinking, are these actually UK trains? But they definitely are. Direct rail services. Some of these look pretty cool. Voslo demonstrator livery. DRS white. Voslo direct rail services. These are pretty cool, actually. Chiltern Railways. Madness. Passengers. I think all this is the same. This might have some cross country. And it's got some network rail. 52 variants. These are all the same, right? These have got London LNER liveries. We've got the Skyfall ones. Okay, so they're new. LNER, new. 43 variants of this. So this has got the Pretend Lino. Is there any LNER in here? No. Negatory. Easier to check the buffet car for any new stuff yet. The Pretend Linos. The Sleepers, still First Great Western, Intercity, Dynamic Lines. So that's everything that's new from there. Did we get anything new in cargo? No, everything still seems to be pretty much the same. Multiple units electric. So there's now only 2 variants of this. So everything else seems to be gone. The ScotRail one and the Strathclyde one. So Scotland were like the last country to stop using them. These 4 variants are the same. I think I'm gonna make the mod, or get the mod that removes the vanilla stuff. 12 variants of this. Yeah, these are still the same. Northern Railways, blah blah blah. 51 variants of this. Yeah, I think these are also still roughly the same. I think these 3 are new, possibly. That's the same. 250s, still the same. Eurostar, still the same. Still the same. They're still the same. These 3 are still the same. Class 390s. Yeah, these are all still the same, I think. Got some LNERs in here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are all still the same. Metrolink. 2 variants. This is new. The NHS 800. The Hitachi IEP Electric. LNER Coronation. Silver Fox. Cross Country Falcon. A Network Rail version. Silver Fox, you see. So definitely some new stuff in there. 22, 13, 21, they're all the same. 9 variants, the same. Same. 20 variants, these are all still the same. No, some of these are new. Or even older, 100 years of the RAF. New. Yeah, so definitely some of them are definitely new. 9 variants of this. Southwestern Rail. This one is new, and this, I think. Chiltern Turbo Stars. I think some of these green Great Western Railways are definitely new. Virgin Trains, cross country, they're all roughly the same. NHS class diesel. So this could be a diesel or electric. That seems odd. Hey, we've got the ScotRail. So this is actually made up. Awesome. And we've got a cross-country one made up. And a Great Western Railways one that is also made up. Right, that is marvellous. Now, we're actually up here. There's no hangar, unfortunately. I'm looking for a depot. Buy vehicles. Go with passenger first. Turn variants of this. I think these are all the same. 32. There might be some new of these. Yorkshire Teas. They're in alphabetical order as well, so we'll never know. 16 variants. First Urban, Huddersfield, Halifax, Bradford, First Urban, York. I think some of them are new. I think these are all still the same. Yeah, they're still the same. 2 variants, 4 variants. Swans Travel, Irish Bus Pack. That's cool. Dublin Pride, Dublin Bus, Dublin Bus. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. National Express Bus Pack. Dundee. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff in there. UK operators. McGill's, Huntington, Go, Goodwins. Holy crap. There's so many buses. These are Swiss. But imagine these liveries. What have we got in here? The Sestra, Flixbus, Intercity Bus. So these are German and UE bus. We could maybe get one of these. I think the Sprinter van, the Pilot van, Eurolines. Okay, so a lot of stuff in there. Cargo, I don't think there's anything new. Well, we've got this new stuff. Vehicle Transport Series. A mini yacht. No load. These are pretty cool. Transport truck. We've got the extreme cargo ones. Aircraft body. Yeah, these are pretty cool. Maybe some more variants of this. Virgin Media. Everything else looks to be roughly the same. And then we've got these ones that are the Jiefang. So these are Chinese, yep. Can't really use them, unfortunately. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. Now, I think we're pretty much done with ships. I don't think there are any more new ships to unlock. However, there are new aircraft. And go to small first. So head down to the bottom because that's where new stuff would be. Bombardier Q400. I'd like some different liveries of these, but no one seems to be doing them. Alright, we've already established the fact that these are American. Let's go with the large aircraft. The Boeing 737, the Tupolev. The Bombardier CS300 is new from 2013. Everything else seems to be the same. It is. Okay, so we shall leave it there for that episode. As always, if you did watch this and you would like to leave a like, comment or dislike, please feel free to do so. And if there's more you'd like to see in the future, then hit that subscribe button. I've been Danny Boy, this has been Transport Fever 2 on the UK map, and I will catch you later.